everyone, welcome back to my channel, or for those that are new here, hello, my name is Alicia. So today's video has been a long time coming. I am finally doing my update video of my orchard and my veggie garden. So a few months ago now, I think 6 months ago, I gave you all a veggie garden and orchard tour, and you guys really seem to love it, and everyone's been messaging me wanting a bit of an update to see all the new things that we've got going on, because we've put in a few new structures, we've got a lot more fruit trees and everything in. So today is the day that I'm going to give you guys a bit of a look around and show you what we've got going on. Now, if you are new here, then definitely click that subscribe button. It'd be great to have you here, part of the Curl Farm. So the reason we actually put this big veggie garden and orchard in is because we're trying to live more like a self-sufficient lifestyle. Given what's happening in the world with inflation and the crazy prices in the supermarket, it definitely makes me happy when I can just whip out to the garden and grab something. I definitely want to encourage everyone watching this video today to get out in your veggie garden, get something growing, because it's a really good feeling when you plant a seed, you watch it grow, you harvest it and eat your own produce that you grew yourself. But first things first, I'm going to give you a bit of a look around our veggie garden, tell you what we've got growing, and then we're going to head out into the orchard, and I've got to show you some of these trees. Oh my god, the amount of fruit that is on them is insane. I absolutely cannot wait for the summertime when all the fruit starts ripening. Oh, it's going to be amazing. So the garden looks a lot different from my last veggie garden tour video. We've actually extended it quite a lot. The original garden actually went down here, and we've actually pushed out this bank quite a lot to fit in all of these veggie beds down here. So I love that I've extended my garden. You can never have a big enough veggie garden, in my opinion. So first up, I want to show you the 4 new planter boxes that we put in. So cool. Me and my husband made all of these, and if you're wondering why there's still these random bits of wood here, I was going to cut them off, but then I decided we're going to leave them on in case we ever want to lift the veggie gardens like another rail higher. Just gives us that option, you know. We're all getting older, our backs are getting sore, so I figured I'll just leave them on because you never know, I might want to raise it later. Another addition we did to these planter boxes is these big structures. So I'm trying a completely different method this year on my tomatoes. We're doing this whole string trellis method. So far it's going really well. There is definitely some pros and cons. I will probably do a video about this in the future, just with my experiences with this method. But yeah, it actually looks pretty cool. I love these little crisscrosses that Jaden decided to put on the end. I actually bought these off Trade Me secondhand. Someone was selling like a big bag of them, but it just makes it easier to like shorten and lengthen the string if you need. And then I've just pretty much clipped the tomatoes to the string with these proper tomato clips. I have also made this big L-shaped bed, which I still haven't filled up yet, but we are getting onto that, and that will be filled up very soon. Something I've also done is put all this weed mat down in all of the rows. It just keeps all these weeds under control. In future we're going to be putting all the mulch down, so that's going to be really soon actually, because we've got a big pile of mulch waiting to go. So eventually these will all be mulched pathways. As you walk into the veggie garden, the first thing we have is our strawberry beds. So we've got one on the right, we've filled up a trough here, and then we've got this big one here as well. This patch here, we're actually getting so many strawberries. Like, if I can show you with my phone in here how many there are, I literally probably pick about 15 strawberries a day maybe out of these gardens, which is pretty good. This garden definitely by far is doing a lot better than this one. I think this one is just way overcrowded, and the strawberries end up being really little. I can try and find one for you. Oh, here's an example. They end up looking like that. I'm not sure if it's bad pollination or just something didn't go quite right with these strawberries. But these ones over here are the runners from these adult plants. I think next year I'm going to try a different method. I have also been having issues with like bugs getting into the strawberries because the strawberries have been laying on the ground. I have put straw in, but it still hasn't really been working. So I'm going to try and figure out a different method of strawberries. Somehow make it so like the strawberries can hang over the side so they don't come into contact with the ground. Logan loves coming out here hunting for strawberries. Oh look, here's one. Oh no, that one's not quite ready yet. Come over here. Not that one. Here, look, over here. Oh, I can see it. Check out this one. Oh, he picked it anyway. That's the thing with toddlers, isn't it? because he always likes to make strawberry smoothies, eh?
There's a hole in there.
Is there a hole in there? Oh, that one is a bit funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, like the best thing about having a strawberry garden, that you can literally just snack on strawberries when you come out here and collect everything else. Next to the strawberries, we still have this lonesome rhubarb plant. I don't really eat much rhubarb, I just put it in like rhubarb pie, so one plant's enough for us. Next up, we've got our potato beds. So this is a fairly new one. I only just planted these about a week and a half ago. These are purple Maori potatoes or something. So I've never grown purple potatoes, so that's going to be interesting to see how those guys go. And then in this one, we've also got a lot of potatoes. So silly me, I bought 2 bags of potatoes and I didn't remember to write down what they were. So I know there's 2 different varieties in here, but I completely forgot what they were. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite type of potato to grow? You can definitely tell there's 2 varieties in here though, because the leaves look completely different. You can see like kind of the half, so like that's one kind and that's the other kind. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what these are. So this garden here is a new garden that I've just planted. So we've got a line of beans along the back here that will grow up that trellis. And then we've got a courgette plant. Now I only planted 1 courgette here because I remember last year how crazy the courgettes and zucchinis went. So I definitely made that decision this year to only have like 1. And then I've got 2 more growing as well. We've got a random strawberry plant. We've actually got random strawberry plants everywhere. There's even ones in this garden. Definitely need to do something about those damn strawberries. I've actually planted spinach and peas on this side. Now in this big garden, which is normally my watermelon garden, but this year we are growing our watermelon out in the paddock, so I'll show you them soon. But this garden I've dedicated to all my corn. Excuse all the grass and weeds. Got a few different types that I've never tried before. We've got the glass corn or gem corn. So I absolutely cannot wait to see what those look like because they're just so pretty, and I love growing different pretty things that you can't normally get in the supermarket. Another variety that we're growing that I've never grown, I've never even seen, is black Navigo corn. So that's actually one thing that I love about growing your own produce. You can grow the things that you wouldn't normally see in the supermarket. So I try and stay away from those normal like supermarket kinds that you can buy and try to grow random stuff. Because if you think about it, you would never know that these like random varieties even exist or what they taste like. So yeah, I love experimenting with growing all different kinds of things. In this garden is my asparagus garden. You would have seen in my last video about my asparagus. So all those asparagus experts, have a look where we're at the moment. We are slowly getting thicker. We've got a few lettuces in this garden. I like to always put some pretty bright marigolds in here just to attract all the bees and pollinators. Celery, the celery is actually going to seed, but once again I like to let everything go to seed. It just saves me replanting it really. They'll just drop their seeds and then grow me some new celery plants. Same with these chives. So the chives are all going to seed, but I actually love how pretty these flowers are. Oh, at the other end of this garden, I was growing these red onions. These red onions have been in here for like 6 months. It's the first time I've ever grown them. I harvested a few the other day, but you can kind of see if it comes out. They're pretty good, I reckon, for my first attempt of red onions. So you're meant to wait for this bit to dry off a little bit. It's just starting to dry, so maybe a tad early to pick it, but I did need a red onion for dinner tonight. Next to the onions, I've just got a few of these blueberry plants that I got on clearance from the warehouse. They're only $4 each. So I've just left them in these pots to get a little bit more established before I put them in the ground. Now on this gate, we've got a couple of cucumbers. We've got the normal telegraph cucumber, and then this one is the, what is it called? The crystal apple, those round ones. So I've just got 2 cucumbers. I've given them so much room because cucumbers grow like crazy. So they've got this whole trellis to themselves to grow on. Now I'm not sure if this worm bin was in my last video, but I've made the addition of a hungry bin. We're actually lucky that the previous owners left this hungry bin here and didn't take it with them. So not complaining. We got a hungry bin for free and it's been great. Pretty much just been shoving all my compost in there, and then when it rains and stuff, it makes all the wormweed drip into this bucket. And then, hello, we've got our wormweed, which I use and dilute it with water and then pretty much tip it over everything, and it makes everything grow amazing. So in this garden, we've got lots of beans. Every year I always make the mistake of growing beans and the poles aren't tall enough, so I bought extra tall bamboo stakes. So I don't think we're going to have that problem this year, but they're already starting to get their little flowers. So very soon we should have some beans. In here I've also put 2 capsicum plants. Yeah, we've got lots of these yum lettuces that I've been picking off daily, and then we've got a eggplant here. I've only got 1 in here because I didn't really use many eggplants last year. And then we've got this silver beet that's gone to seed as well, so I'm just letting him drop his seeds. We've got this yellow, is it a yellow pear? I actually bought this tomato, so all the other ones I grew from seed, but I haven't tried this one. I'll just try and find the tag. Where is it? Tumbling tomato yellow, and it's a bush tomato, so you can get tomatoes that are like a bush form, and then you can get the ones like the ones over there that can grow up a trellis. So this one's already got lots of little tomatoes forming, lots of them actually, so they'll be ready very, very soon. Now the garden next to it is my kumara garden. Once again, got lots of weeds in. So these weeds, sometimes I do think it pays to buy in, you know, like the proper sterilized garden mix, but I really wanted to try and use what we had, but probably didn't realize how much seed was in this dirt, so it has become a little bit of an issue, but we'll get there. I'm just slowly putting compost on top, pulling out the weeds when I can, and it's fine. I mean, most of it's just aesthetic because all the plants are doing well, so I'm not worried about it too much. Back to the kumara. This year I've grown red kumara. Last year's kumaras went really well. There's actually a reel on my Instagram showing you all the kumaras that I grew for the first time. So over time these leaves will just creep and turn into like a big bundle of vines. These will get harvested in about April next year, so they've got a long time to grow, but I'm very excited to see how they go. Now these 2 gardens we touched on briefly. I've got tomatoes in here. All these tomatoes were grown from seed. Tomatoes are super easy to grow from seed, and they have just started getting their flowers, so soon we'll be getting lots of tomatoes. All these ones are doing really well. We're just making sure that I pinch out all of the suckers. You can see here's the main branch, and then this one here is the sucker, so we just make sure we're pinching out all those suckers because we want these tomatoes to grow nice in a single stem up these strings. And you'll never guess my rookie mistake. So I did actually label all these tomatoes. However, I used a marker that somehow came off in the rain. So I'm not 100% sure on these varieties anymore. I know I've got a beefsteak tomato in there because that is a classic big tomato that I like to grow every year. We've got like a green and red striped one. I can't remember the other one, so I guess we're going to have a bit of a surprise to see what they end up being. So yeah, definitely that's a tip. Make sure you use the correct marker pen when you're writing the names down, because that was so unfortunate. Right, so that is our veggie garden tour done. Now off to my favourite part, and that is the orchard. So to my left we've got one little new addition, which is my fig tree. So I always underestimate how big these figs grow. This one is I think it's a brown turkey. Yeah, brown turkey fig. So we've given him plenty of room to grow. We've got our flatto peach over here. Got a kumquat down there. And my persimmon here, which is looking really healthy. Now I'm sure all those that watched my other video remembers passion fruit lane. Check out the flower on this passion fruit. Now I haven't had a passion fruit off this vine yet, so I'm really excited. There's lots of flowers on here, so hopefully very soon we're going to get some yum passion fruit and I can give them a try. Next to it we've got a few more purple passion fruit, and then check this one out. This is that golden passion fruit, and look how insane it is. This is one plant, guys. So this one plant is riddled, and I mean riddled, with passion fruit, and it's given me so many. I've been freezing so many of it. This is what we do with our passion fruit. So we put them all into ice cube trays, and then once they're frozen, we'll take them out and pop them into snap lock bags. Just grab your cube, easy as, rather than trying to cut that big block up to put in there. So definitely a good hack. I can say I have tried the golden passion fruit, and I personally think it's actually better than the purple passion fruit. It's a little bit sweeter, and definitely I think that this plant is way more like vigorous. I've gotten way more passion fruit off this one plant than like the 5 of my purple ones over there. So highly recommend growing a golden passion fruit, but definitely remember how big they can get, because you can see behind me how big this is, and it's still growing. So yeah, definitely only need to plant one, I reckon. Next to it we have this guava, which has got lots of new growth on it, and we've also got a cranberry bush which is hidden amongst this passion fruit vine, but I've never ever grown one of these before. It's got lots of flowers on it, so hopefully that might give us some cranberries, but we gotta wait and see. So moving on from the golden passion fruit is the sweet grandilla. That random frost that came through in October really damaged this one. It's definitely picked up now, but we did have quite a few damaged leaves, which you can see that frost really burnt it and gave it kind of a big hit and a bit of a setback. But I'm happy it's kind of recovered and growing and going good again, so thank God. Now over here we've got my raspberry bed. I'm not sure if this was in my last video. So everyone's told me that raspberries can grow out of control, so I made a decision to confine it to this little bed here. So I'm not too sure if we're going to get much fruit this year, because these are all the first year canes, but we do have some fruit forming on some of these, so that's really exciting because I love raspberries. So next to my raspberry patch is the grapevines. We actually took 2 of the grapevines out because it was just too cluttered, but these 2 are doing awesome. There is so many little grape clusters forming, and we haven't had grapes yet on any of the trees because they're only like 2 years old, and I've heard the 3rd year is when you get your grapes. So I think this year we should get a few bundles of grapes. So you can see on the left of the structure we've got our grapevines, and then on the right we've got our purple passion fruit vines. So these are getting covered in fruit at the moment. So many pretty flowers. The passion fruit flower is so interesting, aren't they? But yeah, really healthy vine. It's doing really well so far. But eventually I think we're going to let these grapevines take over and take the passion fruit out. Because if you weren't quite aware, passion fruit kind of have like a end of life span. They start not producing really well after about 5 years old. So these ones are a few years old, so I'll probably give them another year or so, but after then I'm just going to let these grapes grow over the whole structure, because I'm sure you all know that grapes live for many years. I absolutely love this structure that we made. I did show you it in my previous tour video, but if you did miss that video, all we used to make this was the concrete mesh, and you can get this concrete mesh from like your local Mitre 10 store. Really easy to make, and it looks really cool. So before we move on to all the orchard and the fruit trees, I'm going to show you my other structure that I made. So this one's also pretty cool. It's made out of rebars, and that also is really easy to make. I've put in some pretty dahlias here just to help with the pollination and attract all the bees. But this tunnel here is my berry tunnels. The berries have definitely grown a lot since you would have seen from the last video. They're actually all starting to fruit as well. So very soon I have to cover all these to protect all the fruit from the birds. We've got mostly blackberries, boysenberries, a jewelberry and a loganberry. But yeah, they're all starting to fruit. So it won't be long now until they ripen, and then we'll have our very first berries. I'm just really excited for when they grow taller and they cover this entire structure, so then I can kind of walk down through this tunnel and start plucking berries on my way down through the paddock. Right, now moving on to my favourite part, and that is my orchard. So we have, I don't even know now, something like 46 fruit trees planted here. My end goal is actually to open up a fruit store at the end of my road, hence why everyone asks me, why on earth have you planted so many fruit trees? So I'm going to show you the fruit trees here in the orchard. We do actually have another, I think 12 planted in our chicken coop area. For today's video, I'm just going to show you all the trees that we've got growing in this area. But first of all, I just want to say these trees are around 3 years old now, and they have definitely picked up on their growth. So a bit of what we've got is we've got a couple of apricots over here. We've got a garden and a moorpark. So these haven't produced fruit yet. Not sure why. I think apricots do take a little bit longer. So yeah, I'm not too worried yet. We'll give them another couple of years and see how they go. So apart from the apricots, we've got lots of plum trees. I do have them written down in my book, but I know we've got Billington, we've got a Louisa over there. Check out the size of that. Louisa plum is my absolute favorite. You've got to see how much fruit this tree has got. Like, check this out. Is that not insane? Like, for a 3-year-old plum tree, the amount of plums on it. So this is going to be so exciting when they all get ripe, because Louisa plums are my favorite. Delicious. We've also got a Black Doris and maybe Purple King, possibly. But yeah, they're all looking really good. They've all got little plums on them. I think pretty much every single plum tree has plums on it. Oh, I was going to say this one didn't, but it does. It's got a little one there. We've also got a couple of peaches. Here's my Golden Queen peach. Now this one didn't have the best start. It was pruned super weird. So I've tried to correct it. But we do have a few Golden Queen peaches. I didn't want to leave too many on here because the trees are still young, but I couldn't help myself. I had to leave like 4 on here just to see how they go. This one is a Black Boy peach. Black Boys are great if you want a disease resistant peach tree. This peach tree very rarely gets leaf curl and black spot. So it's quite an easy peach for you to grow. So we've got lots of fruit on this one. Now we've also got a couple of nectarines. We've got Fantasia nectarines. So we've got one here and one here. And then the one over there is called the Gold Mine. That's right. So this one, look how healthy it's looking. You know, we're always going to get the odd leaf curl like that. I mean, I do spray them with apple cider vinegar all through the winter and when they're flowering, just to try and help control that. But they are looking incredible, and if you can see up close, we do have a few nectarines on here. Once again, I did pick quite a lot off because these trees are still relatively young, so I don't want to make them focus too much on the fruit. That's mainly the stone fruit. We've also got this nashi tree. This is the one I transplanted, which was on the driveway. But this one's doing really well, considering the stock did actually rip off a huge branch, but we've sealed that closed and it hasn't really seemed to be affecting it. But that's a Ready Robin nashi. Delicious. I will take you up there shortly and show you my other nashi trees. Have an apple. This one's actually a triple grafted apple. Tons of apples on it, but I probably will take most of these off once again because it's quite a young tree. I mean, clearly you can't have that many apples on there, because you could imagine if they were all full size, they'd just ruin that branch. But this tree has Splendor, Royal Gala and Golden Delicious, and Golden Delicious are definitely one of my favourite types of apples. And once again, you don't normally see Golden Delicious apples in the supermarket, so I'm really happy that I'm growing one of these. We do have a couple more apples up there with the nashi that I'll show you soon. So next to all these stone fruit, I have some blueberries over here. These were the ones that my nan gave me, and they're loaded with fruit. So check out all the fruit on them. So soon I'll have to cover these as well, but we've got 4 along the back here. I've put a grapevine here, so this was one of the ones that I took out from that other area and given it its own space so it can grow and have lots of room. There is a few clusters on here, but this one did get hammered by that frost as well, so probably needs a little bit of time to get back on track. So next to this grapevine we have our feijoa hedge. And this is the first time I've seen this feijoa hedge start flowering. So it should be really soon that we get feijoas. It actually reminds me of Christmas for some reason when I see all of these red flowers. You would notice that the lawns were nicely mowed. However, our lawnmower decided to pack itself. So behind me in the citrus orchard, I haven't mowed it yet. I was going to mow it for the purposes of this video, but I thought, this is real life and this is what's happening right now. So behind me is my citrus orchard, and we do have a few new additions in here since the last time you saw this video. We've also got my 2 big persimmons in here. So in this jungle of mess, we've basically got a few lemons, we've got a couple of limes, we've got 2 mandarins, we've got an orange. You probably can't quite see these little ones, but we've got, yeah, that one's a mandarin, and there's a mandarin down there. And then over here I bought a blood orange, which is down there. And then we've also got a Buddha's hand. Buddha's hands are frost tender. Hey Cleo. Hey missus. So this big grass area is going to get mowed, and this is actually going to become my big watermelon patch. So I've been growing a lot of watermelon seedlings, and we're just going to weed mat this whole area and plant them really soon. Now, if you don't know me personally, watermelon is literally my favourite thing in the whole wide world. I will do anything for watermelon, so watermelon is definitely on the list of things to grow for me. It saves me a lot of money, because if I didn't grow my own, I'd be buying like a $10 watermelon every single day of the summer. Here's a few of the watermelons I'm growing, and I'm so not going to make that mistake of using that pen again, but I can just see what they are, so I'm going to redo that today so I don't lose the names of the seedlings. But in this tray we've got rock melons and honeydew. In this tray we have golden gold and sugar baby. The back tray I can kind of see we've got sweet red F1, moon and stars, Charleston Grey and Crimson Sweet. So all these seeds were actually collected from the actual melons that I grew last year, and it's pretty much like 100% sprouting rate. They've actually done a lot better than I thought, because sometimes I thought I'd get dud seeds, but yeah, I was actually really surprised that all of them have pretty much sprouted. If you're thinking about growing melons, then save some seeds from the next melon you eat, dry them out, and then plant them the next season, and you'll be surprised. So next to my citrus orchard, we have a new addition, and it is my blueberry patch. So we were lucky enough to see these on Marketplace. Some lady was digging them all out and selling them for $15 each. And I mean, look at the size of them. So we've got 8 blueberry plants in here, and I made sure I did enough of a gap down the middle so I could walk down here when they're all a lot bigger. But they're absolutely covered in blueberries, so I just got to make sure I keep watering them all, because they need a lot of water when they're starting to form their blueberries. And then hopefully soon we can pick them all and have tons and tons of blueberries, because that's actually Logan, my 2-year-old's favourite thing to eat. Might as well just show you my beautiful garden, even though it's kind of off topic, but it's just so beautiful. And we planted it right next to the orchard to attract lots of bees to help with pollination, and all the gardens are starting to waken up now in the spring. Got beautiful irises and salvias and hebees and this catmint. So we've got the orchard located over in this area, right next to this beautiful garden. Main reason we put the orchard here was pretty much lots of protection from the wind, full sun, north facing, and it's got a gradual slope to it, so we don't get issues with drainage. So that pretty much wrapped up that area. Now as we go through our berry tunnel, we've got a few more trees up the top here, starting with our pear tree. So I may regret planting this pear tree here, because that one over there, this big one, that's a big pecan pear tree, and check the size of it. Winter, so that one's like a brown pear. So I'm hoping I can kind of contain it with pruning, but we'll see how we go. So through my berry tunnel, we have our apple tree. This one's a Braeburn apple, absolutely covered in apples. We do each year get issues with codling moth, but I've tried a few different sprays. Unfortunately not natural sprays, but it's just kind of gotten out of control that I had to use something a bit stronger. This tree is absolutely covered in apples. Next to him we've got our nashis. They've really greened up and looking super healthy. We've got 2 more apples. I think they're both Granny Smith. They were planted over there by that structure and they were going to get too big for that space. So I've transplanted them and they've survived the transplant, so they will now put their roots down a bit more and they should produce fruit in the next year or so. Just as I was about to finish this video, I forgot to show you my pumpkins. So my pumpkins are planted in weird places because pumpkins literally can grow anywhere. Pumpkins are definitely something I think everyone should grow. You can literally throw pumpkin seeds down the bank and you'll get an abundance of pumpkins. And pumpkins are amazing because they last like a whole year when you store them. So these pumpkins down here are actually ones I've never grown before. They're called jack-o'-lanterns. So I'll put in a picture here and I'll show you what they look like. And the other one that we always grow every year is the butternut pumpkin. So butternut pumpkins, mine and my husband Jaden's favourite pumpkins. We definitely grow them every year. Like one plant gave us so many pumpkins. So this year we only planted 2 plants and that should give us plenty to last us throughout the year. So this is the random space we put them. You can see there's one over there and one down here. So what's going to happen is these will just kind of sprawl all over the ground. It's fine if they go under the passion fruit vine, not too worried. But they'll end up just kind of crawling all around here. So yeah, thank you guys so much if you made it to the end of this video and came on a bit of a walk around with me to see what we've got growing here. I love coming out here and just seeing how everything's doing. People kind of think I'm weird because I always talk about like my fruit trees and my veggie garden, but I just love it so much. It's definitely like, yeah, it's just a huge passion of mine. Definitely don't forget to like this video if you liked videos like this, and I will keep doing more updates. I know this one took a little bit to get uploaded. We've just had so much going on, but I'm so happy that I finally got out here to video this for you before everything started to go right, because that will definitely be my next video. I'm thinking of doing like a harvest video because I love watching them. Anyways, I hope this gave you a bit of inspiration of what you can make a little piece of land turn into, because this area would only be, I don't know, maybe not even half an acre, a quarter of an acre maybe, and we've done this amount. Like, you can plant so much in a small area. You've just got to kind of work out your best strategy of where you put things. Just make sure you keep things pruned, keep on top of it. That's it from me for now, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. See you later. Bye.